Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. I wanted to express our gratitude again to the Media Center for hosting our meeting, and I wanted to thank our friends from the media, journalists, for accepting the invitation and coming today to the meeting with me on a day which is a day off in Armenia. I apologize, I only realized it on today when we were discussing scheduling of the meeting. I was not aware that Monday in Armenia is a day off, so I apologize, and my gratitude is even bigger because of this. So as you know, the next 3 weeks will be very busy weeks for us in Armenia, for the European Union delegation. We will be conducting a number of events and activities. The aim is to celebrate together what we call the Europe Day. We consider Europe Day to be our joint holiday, to be our joint event. We treat Armenia as part of the wider European family, and we believe that all the values that are embodied in the concept of the Europe Day, they are common for us. They are common for the European Union. They are common for Armenia. And we hope very much to use this opportunity to conduct a very direct and candid dialogue with the Armenian population, in particular with the youth. We will be having events in 7 cities. We started on Saturday in Yerevan. We had a big concert. As you know, this concert was devoted to the theme of peace. Hundreds of children participated in the art competition. We had very talented Armenian young performers on the stage in the Philharmonic Hall, and we believe it was a very good start of our Europe Day celebrations. Last Saturday also we had the visit of the President. We were honored by the coming of President Sarkisyan to the office of the UN delegation. We are very grateful for that because it sends a very important signal from the very top of Armenian government concerning the importance of our cooperation and the work that we are doing together here in Armenia. So today we have another busy day. Later we will have a meeting with ambassadors of member states, with a group of young people, including a group called Young Ambassadors. Later in the week we will have the first open event in Gyumri. We start with Gyumri, then we go to Vanadzor, Dilijan, and next week we will be in Yehagnadzor, in Goris, Kapan, and then we will be coming back for the crowning event in Yerevan with the EU Fair and concert. These activities, this program also involves some member states. We are very grateful as the EU delegation to Germany, Italy, and Lithuania for inscribing into this program their events, and we invite all Armenians to take part in these activities and to be with us together. When we met here at the beginning of the year, here in the Media Center, I was expressing the hope that 2017 will be a very eventful year for the cooperation between the European Union and Armenia. And indeed, our hopes are materializing. Our best expectations are coming true, which I think is very good for Armenia and for the European Union. As you all know, the Comprehensive and Enhanced Partnership Agreement was initialed here in Yerevan on the 21st of March. Now this agreement is subject to a technical work. Experts are verifying all technical and legal aspects of the agreement. I hope that by autumn the agreement will be ready for signature. We are looking forward to the implementation of this agreement. We are already preparing ourselves to implement the agreement. This is the most ambitious agreement, bilateral agreement between the European Union and a member of the Euro-Asian Economic Union. It is a new quality in comparison with what we had so far in relations with Armenia. But as we all know, the key is implementation. We should fill this agreement with the substance which would suit the interests of Armenia and the European Union, because agreements as such, they offer opportunities. How we use these opportunities is up to us, including people at our level, local level here in Armenia. So we as the EU delegation, we are now preparing ourselves to put good substance into this agreement. Then in January I talked about another important document, a politically binding document called Partnership Priorities. And I can tell you that the draft has been provisionally agreed between the European Union and Armenia. Again, Armenia plays a very important pioneering role, a kind of trailblazing role, because Armenia is the first country of Eastern Partnership countries which negotiated with the European Union this new type of document called Partnership Priorities. Now this document is consulted with member states. I hope very much that quite soon this agreement will be signed. But what I wanted to confirm, being myself a witness to the negotiations, that the negotiations were concluded in a very constructive and very productive spirit, which I think augurs well for the future of the implementation of the document. And the third important document, which, if you remember, we talked about in January here in this room, is called so-called Single Support Framework. These are the areas of our development assistance from the European Union to Armenia till the year 2020. And as you may know from reports, the draft Single Support Framework was submitted to the European Parliament. It was discussed in the European Parliament in the framework of what is called a strategic dialogue, with very good feedback from the European Parliament. So I hope very much that the final version of the Single Support Framework will be officially unveiled, officially declared quite soon, and we will be having a very good framework for our development assistance to Armenia in the coming years. But I wanted to tell you that we are already now very busy in the EU delegation working on the next action plans, and action plans are our annual commitments. Action plan for 2017, action plan for 2018. We are planning to include some new areas of our cooperation, areas where the European Union has not so far invested its resources, and we are very glad that we will be expanding our cooperation, because the signal is we are expanding our development assistance in Armenia in the coming months. So as you can see from this overview, Europe Day in 2017 is an occasion to talk about these very important achievements in our bilateral cooperation. And I hope very much that these new documents the agreement, the partnership priorities will produce very tangible results, very tangible benefits for ordinary Armenians. For me, that is the main challenge, to translate these documents into very tangible benefits for ordinary Armenians.
Շնորհակալություն, պարոն դեսպան։ Շնորհակալ եմ ձեր նախաբանի համար, բավականին ծավալուն եւ ընդգրկուն։ Պարոն դեսպան, վերջից գալով մեկ հարց ես ուղեմ, դուք նշեցիք աջակցության միասնական շրջանակ, որ պետք է հաստատվի, քննարկվում է եւ նշեցիք, որ նոր ոլորտներ են ներառվելու։ Ինչ նոր ոլորտների մասին է խոսքը, եթե կարելի է երկու խոսքով նոր ոլորտների մասին խոսենք, որովհետեւ մինչեւ այսօր գիտենք, որ հիմնականում քաղաքական տրանսֆորմացիաներին, այսպես ուրեմն արդարադատության ոլորտին ուղղված ծրագրեր իրականացնում, բարելավման Եվրոպական միությունը Հայաստանում, նաեւ հասարակական սեկտորին, ինչ նոր ոլորտների մասին է խոսքը եւ եթե կան մոտավոր պատկերացումներ, որովհետեւ միշտ դուք նշում եք մոտավորապես տարեկան ինչ ծավալի աջակցություն է տրամադրում Եվրոպական միությունը Հայաստանին, հա, որ անցնում է $50 միլիոն, $60 միլիոն երբեմն, այս նոր ծրագրերով, որ ընդլայնում են ենթադրում, ինչ նոր ֆինանսական միջոցների մասին է խոսքը։
Thank you. The document called Single Support Framework is a general statement of our intentions, our commitments. It will be structured along the 4 priority areas or 4 pillars of our development assistance as formulated by the Riga Summit of Eastern Partnership. So we will have a section devoted to the economic development. We will have a section devoted to good governance. We will have a section devoted to connectivity. And the final pillar will be people-to-people contact. Now, concerning concrete programs, we are now working on the areas. We are discussing with the government. We are waiting now for the appointment of the new government. I understand that in a few days the new National Assembly will be convened and the new government after elections will be in a formal sense sworn in, appointed. And we are waiting for the vision and the priority areas of the new government, and we expect certain continuity because, as you know, we have had very intense discussions with Prime Minister Karapetyan and his team in the previous months concerning the future work, and we hope very much that on the basis of this new program and priorities formulated after the appointment of the government, we will be able to discuss very concrete areas. Therefore, I will not now venture into discussing details, but of course I can mention some of the new areas that we have been exploring in the past months. One of the areas is education. As you know, the European Union has not been very active in the field of education in the previous years. We thought that bearing in mind the intellectual potential of Armenia and the demand for good education in Armenia, there is an opportunity for us to help modernize the educational sector. And we have been discussing these issues with the Ministry of Education and other partners. So there is no final decision, no final blueprint for our program, activities, but I can disclose to you that this is one of the examples of the new areas which we are exploring. Concerning the amount of the assistance, you remember me saying in January that 2016 was a record year in terms of how much we spent in Armenia. of course, we have fluctuations. Sometimes the amount we spend is a product of different technical processes, but I hope very much that at least till 2020, within the current financial perspective, we will be able to maintain our engagement in Armenia. I am not in a position now to give you a detailed disaggregation of the figures concerning the single support framework. They are still under discussion, but I can say that the European Union will be providing the bulk of all development assistance in Armenia. In 2015, according to OECD, this is the Paris-based organization, the European Union and the member states provided more than 50% of all budget support grants and loans to Armenia, more than 50%. And that's the level of commitment that I believe we will be maintaining in the coming years till 2020.
Շնորհակալ եմ։ Հարգելի գործընկերներ, եթե հարցեր կան, ինձ խնդրում եմ այսպես ձեռքով ցույց տվեք, որպեսզի իմանամ։ Խնդրեմ ձեր հարցը։ Միկրոֆոնը վերցրեք։ Ներկայացիք ուղեք ձեր հարցը։
Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, Anush Mukherjee. Mr. Ambassador, you talked a lot about corruption problems in Armenian government, in Armenia, and recently we faced a real corruption problem within the European Union. And I would like your attitude to this problem, and also how can this problem reflect on the cooperation between EU and Armenia? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. In fact, I have nothing to add to what we published in our press release as the EU delegation. I understand you refer to the embezzlement cases. I have nothing to add. I can only repeat what we said in our press release, maybe using simpler words. So the press release contains 4 elements. The first element, which I think is very important to note, is that these embezzlement cases were discovered by the European Union delegation. And this is a very important element because it shows that our procedures, our verification and control mechanisms work well, which is, I think, very good. It speaks very well about the internal capacity of the European Union institutions to discover irregularities and cases like that. The second element is that the EU delegation passed the information to our specialized institution, which is Olaf. I understand many Armenians learned for the first time about the name of Olaf, about the institution. And again, Olaf conducted its own internal analysis of the cases, and they came to certain conclusions, operational conclusions. It speaks well about, again, the functioning of such independent anti-corruption body within the EU structures. You must be aware that Olaf has investigated dozens of similar cases around the world, and that's quite natural. I will use this case to support my recommendation to the Armenian government to establish a similar independent anti-corruption body, because the work of Olaf shows that an independent anti-corruption body can be very effective and can produce the necessary results. If the Armenian government is interested how Olaf works, we are very open. Use the example, because I think it is very useful. The third element contained in our press release is that Olaf sent a request with a recommendation to the investigative committee to start formal procedures concerning the embezzlement cases. Some people, I read some media reports that these embezzlement cases may discredit the EU-Armenia cooperation. What I can tell you is that I have a completely opposite view. I think that the cooperation between the European Union and Armenia can be made stronger thanks to this joint work, because the cooperation between Olaf and the investigative committee of Armenia was very close and very productive. I heard from both sides, from the Olaf investigators and from Armenian investigators, that they enjoyed very good cooperative atmosphere in their contacts. And throughout the process, our Olaf people, Olaf officers, were informed by the activities of the Armenian investigative officers. So what we can say on the basis of this case is that it is an objective interest on both sides to deal very seriously with such signals and to make the cooperation between the European Union and Armenia free of such cases, which will result in better results, in more benefits for ordinary Armenians, because money will not be lost. So what I can expect is that Armenian investigative committee treat with similar seriousness other signals coming to them from other institutions and local bodies. The same seriousness that our request, our recommendation from Olaf was treated by investigative committee. The fourth element is that we should not jump to any conclusions. There is this presumption of innocence. Let's wait. Let's not make judgments, because it's up to the courts to make such judgments. And I understand this is a very difficult situation for people directly concerned. But the European standard in such cases is we should not speak before the court deals with the matter. And therefore I understand the interest on the part of Armenian public, including the media. I have read about many speculations, but I can tell you very, very openly here, and as you know, I am a very transparent person. I share with you all I can share. I have nothing to hide, and I believe that we should now wait till the next steps are being undertaken and not draw any premature conclusions. These embezzlement cases makes our voice against corruption, our voice as the EU voice, I believe even stronger, because you can say we are credible. We can stand with ourselves. And corruption is a common challenge. As you may know, in Europe, in the European Union countries, every year, more than 1 billion euros is lost because of corruption scandals. But the European Union is very open to talk about it and is very determined to fight corruption, wherever it comes from. So I would advise the same open and transparent attitude to be followed by other countries, including Armenia. And we will be speaking about it, we will be supporting the government. You may remember that before elections, I had a meeting with the Prime Minister where we talked about corruption, where we were presented with the plans of the government concerning the fight of the corruption. And I can confirm that we are ready to assist the government in the fight against corruption. We understand that some of the measures which were planned still before the corruption in Armenia were delayed, but we believe that they will be implemented and we will be ready to assist. I strongly believe that what we have said, what we have done, is something which will help to make the cooperation between Armenia and the European Union more tangible and more beneficial for the ordinary Armenians, because that's my personal objective. And you remember me, even last time, I was asking you, the journalists, investigative journalists, to help us, to send the signals, to act as whistleblowers, to make this cooperation more effective. Because sometimes it's not only a big thing like embezzlement, sometimes it's simply a kind of lousy attitude. Some money is not properly spent, although there is no criminal act involved. But please tell us, and we are always at your disposal, and I'm personally always ready to talk about it. Send us your signals. Be critical. As you know, I am not afraid of criticism because I think that this type of criticism serves a good purpose. But my final request, don't go into big speculations, because some of you have published such speculative conspiracy theories that I couldn't believe that you can be really serious about it. But the matter is very serious, of course. The matter is very serious, but as I said, I hope that we will, as a result, get stronger, both Armenian partners and us. And because I also read some of the comments trying to discredit our partners from the non-governmental world, non-governmental society. I can tell you, as you know from the recent calls from proposals, our commitment to support civil society organizations is undiminished. We will be working in this direction with the same vigor, because we believe that this is very important for Armenia. So we are not discouraged by such sad cases when it comes to civil society.
Շնորհակալություն պարոն դեսպան, մեկ հարց այս համատեքստում, բայց արդեն Հայաստանի այսպես կոնտեքստի շրջանակներում համատեքստի դուք նշեցիք, որ շատ կարևոր է, որ նույն կերպ թափանցիկ եւ ուրեմն պատրաստական ձևով պայքարվի նաև Հայաստանում կոռուպցիայի դեմ եւ խոսվի դրա մասին բաց, արդյոք այս պահին, որովհետեւ Եվրամիությունը աջակցում է այդ ծրագրերին, դրա համար եմ հարցնում, արդյոք այս պահին ընթացող կամ մինչև այդ ընթացքով նախատեսվող կառուցվածքային փոփոխությունները կառավարությունում, Հայաստանի քաղաքական համակարգում եւ այլ ձեզ վստահություն է ներշնչում, որ կոռուպցիայի դեմ, հատկապես կոռուպցիայի դեմ պայքարը Հայաստանում ռեալ հենքերի վրա է դրվել եւ ձեր աջակցությունը, Եվրամիության աջակցությունը, այդ թվում արտաքին դոնորների աջակցությունը իրենք հենց նպատակային կլինեն եւ արդյունավետ կլինեն։
I believe that the discussion on the fight against corruption in Armenia in the several months now has been very serious and very promising. Some of the measures already adopted, including in particular the legislation on illicit enrichment, is, I believe, a very important development. The plans that are being discussed, and quite recently the President himself conducted a meeting with different stakeholders to discuss anti-corruption measures. And they are very serious and very good measures. I can only wish that these plans that were discussed, that were presented to us by the Prime Minister, by Prime Minister Karapetyan, a few months ago, I think, when was it, in February, that they are implemented, because these are very good plans. And we in the EU, we analyzed what can be done on our part to support the government and the public institutions to implement these plans. We are ready. Almost everything that is contained in the plans can be met with our support. And this is a very far-reaching declaration. But as I said, we are now waiting because we had elections. Now there is the process of composing the new government, I understand, and there will be a new declaration, new program of the government presented to Armenians. And then when everything is in place, we are ready to resume our dialogue with the government concerning how we as the European Union can be supportive in the implementation of these plans. So I hope very much that this year will be, as I said during the launching of our anti-corruption campaign by the European Union, that 2017 will be a landmark year for Armenia in terms of combating corruption. And we are ready to assist.
Շնորհակալություն, խնդրեմ ձեր հարցը, միկրոֆոնը խնդրում եմ փոխանցեք։ Հա, լավ, դուք հետո դուք։
Նավերության A1+, իմ հարցը վերաբերում է ընտրություններին, ազգային ժողովի։ Ձեր կարծիքն եմ ուզում իմանալ այն գումարները, որոնք Եվրամիությունը ներդրեց ընտրությունների արդյունավետ անցկացման համար, արդյոք արդարացրեցին իրենց, նաև որ ընդդիմությունների արդյունքները փորձեց Համանդրական դատարանում ունենալով բազմակի դժգոհություններ, պես կգնահատեք ընտրությունների ընթացքը, արդյոք իսկապես արդյունավետ ծախսվեցին այդ գումարները։
The European Union has made its position on the conduct of elections very clear and very audible. Let me refer to the statement made by the spokesperson Maya Kochanchi, immediately after the elections on the next day. Let me refer to statements made by the members of the European Parliament. As you know, there was a debate on the elections in Armenia in the European Parliament, and the chairman of the delegation, Heidi Hautala, gave her assessment of the elections. A number of EU officials also made their opinion very, I say, transparent, including quite recently Ambassador Zalber, who was in Armenia, and in his interview he again gave the opinion. So I think that the European Union has issued quite a clear statement on the elections in Armenia. Concerning the specific issue of whether we are satisfied with the way our money was spent, the answer is yes. We believe that the technology that was put in place on our money, voter authentication and video cameras, they worked very well, above our expectations even. Bearing in mind the very short period which was made available to implement the very complex technology, in no other country, let me tell you very openly, in no other country, so few days were available to implement this ambitious program. And the technology worked in Armenia better than in other countries. So from purely technical point of view, we are very satisfied. Of course, there were some hiccups, some glitches, in particular concerning the live streaming from video cameras. Sometimes the technology, the fingerprinting readers refused to cooperate, but these were very isolated cases by all accounts. And we are now analyzing all signals, all accounts, and there was a discussion in framework of the steering committee, which serves as the supervising body concerning the implementation. The technology worked very well. As I said, better than in other countries and better than we expected. So we are very satisfied that our money was well spent. But that's the technical, administrative, or financial side. I understand that you want to hear more about the other aspects. I think that Armenians now know that with this technology, they can have enough assurances that their vote is no longer stolen. That if they vote for a party or a person, this vote will count as, dropped in the box. There is still a lot of, mistrust, which I felt during my conversations with ordinary Armenians before the elections. But now I think that despite all the fears, I think that Armenians can have confidence that with this technology, their vote will count. Their vote will not be stolen. But as we discussed, and me, myself, in my interviews, there are aspects of the electoral process which should be addressed in the future. I can tell you that we as the European Union, we are ready to work with the government, with the state structures, to address the other shortcomings which were revealed during the last elections. And everyone, including the leadership of the country, admits that there were things which should not have happened. What I can repeat that for us, the past elections were not the end of the road. And we are ready to continue our support. In what forms, how, we still do not know, but we are ready. And I believe that the Armenian partners, in particular the government, is interested in continuing our cooperation. The final question, which I will not address now, but which is, I think, something that Armenians as such should address, is the general shape of the political process, the role of the political parties, the role of political programs, and so on and so forth. Because this election showed a lot about the attitude of the Armenian society, state of mind of the Armenian, state of political mind of Armenian society. It showed a lot about the weaknesses of the political system, party system in Armenia. It showed a lot about the weaknesses of the political process, including campaign, etc. But this is a domestic issue. The European Union, unlike some other donors, we have not invested our money into the political system. As you know, other donors paid millions of dollars to work with the political parties to provide training concerning different forms of political activities. We didn't do it. All we did as the European Union was to invest money in technology. But I think that Armenian society and the political class in particular has a lot to think about, the political culture, the shape of the political process, the political leadership, meaning political parties, media, etc., etc. But I will stop here without going into details.
Շնորհակալություն, պարոն դեսպան, հարց ունեիք, խնդրեմ, փոխանցեք։
Հենարանն եմ, ես կցանկանայի, որ անդրադառնաք Երևանում ԵԱՀԿ գրասենյակի փակմանը, ինչպես դա կազդի Երևանի վրա, այսինքն Հայաստանի վրա, հաշվի առնելով, թե ինչ ծրագրեր է իրականացնում ԵԱՀԿ գրասենյակը Հայաստանում, նաև սահմանամերձ գյուղերում։
Thank you. As you may know, Maya Kochanchit sent a very detailed opinion on this issue to Azatutun. So I understand that you are aware of the position of the European Union. What I can add to what Maya Kochanchit said in her statement is the local perspective, the perspective from the EU delegation. For us, the OSCE office in Yerevan was a very precious and reliable partner in conducting our activities. As you know, we have cooperated on a number of projects. We have financed a number of projects, and we believe that these projects were very useful. They were a very clear contribution to the development of the democratic processes, rule of law, human rights, and other aspects of the mandate of the OSCE. From our perspective, the OSCE office stick to its mandate, doing a very useful job, also proving how important the OSCE contribution can be, because we believe the main asset of the OSCE is its field presence and field activities, and the office of the OSCE in Yerevan was one of the best examples of very concrete, very practical work done in the field, on the spot. We believe that the Armenian host partners were giving the best example of the attitude of the host country. I think that at least from the perspective of our joint projects with the OSCE office, the Armenian partners showed maximum cooperation and constructive attitude. In many ways, the attitude of the Armenian host side was exemplary. In a situation where in many countries OSCE activities and OSCE presence as such is contested inside the country, Armenian partners were very supportive of it, which again, for the OSCE was a good case. So we hope very much that the projects, the activities of the OSCE office in Yerevan will be continued in the future. It would be really a big loss if, because of what happened in Vienna, these very useful activities had to cease, had to stop. That would be really a big pity. Also for us, for the EU, because for us the OSCE office in Yerevan was the partner of choice. When we were considering our projects, we started always thinking about with whom to work from OSCE. Of course, Council of Europe, but OSCE office and the Council of Europe were the partners. We always started discussing with whom we should be doing something. So we regret, I don't want to go into the other aspects of the statement made by Maya Kochanchit. I can only fully confirm that from the local perspective, closure of the office would be a big loss. I can confirm that we would hope very much that these activities should be continued, and we praise the Armenian side and our partners in the OSCE office for the very excellent work. I'm with them, you know, as a human being, because if you talk to them, it's a big blow to all these people employed by OSCE who worked with such a dedication, who had plans, and who had such a good feedback from ordinary Armenians. To be now forced to stop the activities and to go home, that's bad. That's very bad. So I hope very much that these activities will be continued, because Armenia needs them and OSCE needs them. It's a big blow to the OSCE, frankly, even bigger than to Armenia.
Շնորհակալություն, պարոն դեսպան, քանի որ դուք համաձայնագրին վերադառնալով Հայաստան Եվրոպական միություն նախաստորագրված, որը որ ակնկալվում է, որ պետք է ուրեմն ստորագրվի նոյեմբերին կայանալիք Արևելյան գործընկերության գագաթնաժողովին, նշեցիք, որ բավականին սպეციფიկ իրավիճակ է, Հայաստանը Եվրասիական տնտեսական միության անդամ եւ ստորագրում է համապատասխան համաձայնագիր, հա։ Մենք հարևան պետությունը, որը որ ստորագրել էր DCFTA եւ ասոցիացիայի համաձայնագիրը, նկատի ունեմ Վրաստանը, արդեն իսկ ունի Եվրոպական միության հետ ազատ վիզային, այսպես գոտի եւ առանց վիզային հարաբերություններ։ Կարող ենք ենթադրել, որ այս համաձայնագիրը նախ մեկ կարճ հարց, այսպես տեխնիկական, երբ այն ստորագրելուց հետո ուժի մեջ կմտնի, ինչ ընթացակարգեր պետք է անցնի, եւ երկրորդը այն հիմք է, որպեսզի Հայաստան Եվրոպական միության միջև առաջիկայում լինեն եւս առանց վիզային հարաբերություններ։
Concerning the signature of the agreement, as I said, we need still some time in order to do the necessary technical work and to have the document translated in all languages and so on and so forth. It will take some months. I know that there is the idea of having the document, the agreement signed at the Eastern Partnership Summit in Brussels in November, which I personally believe is a good idea. Let's only hope that the homework to be done, in particular in the European Union, because it mainly concerns the European Union, not Armenia, that will be done in a way which will allow to use the opportunity of the Eastern Partnership Summit to sign the agreement. The second issue is, of course, this agreement is less ambitious than the CFTA and the association agreement. And it's not only about the trade part or the investment protection part, but still I believe that the agreement offers very good opportunities to strengthen and to deepen the cooperation. But it is in our hands, in particular in the hands of Armenia, how it wants to use the agreement to deepen the cooperation. The political part is largely copied from the association agreement. So all the elements referring to our political cooperation, cooperation in promoting the common values of democracy, human rights, rule of law, security dialogue and cooperation, and so on and so forth, it is of the level of the association treaty, which I think is very important. Although we don't call it association, but this part of the agreement is essentially of the same content, with slight variations. But also, I believe that the other parts of the comprehensive and enhanced partnership agreement offer very good opportunities to deepen our cooperation, be it in the sectoral so-called fields like transportation, energy, be it in the services part or competition, I think that there are opportunities. There are opportunities there. Now, the question of the visa liberalization. As you know, my mantra is patience, patience, patience. It's true that now Georgians can benefit from visa-free travel for tourist purposes. I hope that when their agreement is implemented well, it will serve also an encouragement to move with Armenia to this new stage of visa liberalization, but it will take time. There are good factors working well for Armenia, like the fact that Armenia is perceived as a very reliable partner during the current visa facilitation dialogue. The assessment in Brussels and in member state capitals of the attitude of Armenia is very positive. And this is a prerequisite to move to the new stage, visa liberalization. What complicates the process is, of course, the migration crisis, is the influx of migrants from all over the place in Europe, which makes several governments in Europe quite cautious in opening the possibilities for visa-free travel. But I hope very much, and the position of the EU delegation is that the issue should be kept on the agenda, that Armenia should be, when the proper time comes, should be treated as a partner ready for visa liberalization dialogue. And I'm very optimistic about it. I'm very optimistic. Okay.
Շնորհակալություն, պարոն դեսպան, եւ վերջին հարցը իմ կողմից, քանի որ 3 է տեղի ունեցել իրադարձությունը, չեմ կարող չհարցնել, պարոն դեսպան, Ֆրանսիայում տեղի ունեցան ընտրություններ եւ հաղթանակ տարավ Էմանուել Մակրոնը, որը հանդիսանում է Եվրոպական միության ամրապնդման ջատագովներից, տարբեր կարծիքներ էին հնչում, հարցը հետեւյալն է. հատկապես Եվրոպայում վերջերս տեղի ունեցող իրադարձությունների ֆոնին, որ Brexit-ը տեղի ունեցավ, խոսում են ծայրահեղականության մասին եւ այլ, Մակրոնի հաղթանակը կարևորագույն Եվրոպական միության համար, այսպես երկրներից մեկում, Ֆրանսիայում, ինչ ազդակ է Եվրոպական միությանը, ինչպես է սա անկալվում Եվրոպական միության կողմից, խնդրեմ.
Well, I think the very fact that the leaders of the European Union, President Tusk and President Juncker, were so quick to congratulate Emmanuel Macron with his victory sends a very important signal. And we believe that the new President of France will play a very important role inside the European Union to address the very important challenges that lie ahead of the European Union. It is about determining the future shape of the European integration. It is about determining the future approaches to Europe. And Emmanuel Macron is well known. He's a person with very strong European credentials. So I believe as a result, Europe will be stronger. And the European Union will be in a better position to take the right decisions concerning its future. Because that's what's at stake, as you know. We didn't discuss much the current challenges of the European Union, like Brexit or the institutional arrangements, the future of the Eurozone, and so on and so forth. But as you know, these are very important challenges. And you need people with strong European credentials, strong pro-European views to make the European Union capable of finding good solutions. And I believe Emmanuel Macron is this type of a leader. On a private note, I can tell you that because I was residing in France, I worked in France So I was able to watch the rise of Emmanuel Macron when very few people in Europe even were aware of his existence or political activities. And I remember when he joined the government, the socialist government, when he came up with very difficult decisions, courageous decisions, I immediately started paying attention to his personality and to his views. At least for me personally, Emmanuel Macron is someone I have been following very closely, hoping for a big future for him since some years. Okay, we stop here. Thank you again for your interest and for sacrificing your day, which you would otherwise be able to spend preparing horvats